Hi everyone and welcome to Newegg TV. My name is Paul and today once again we have JJ from ASUS in the studio. JJ, thanks for stopping by today.
As always, thank you for having me.
And what I asked JJ to do was choose his favorite router and bring it here to the Newegg TV studios to share with us what it is first of all and why it is his favorite. So here it is. It's actually an 802.11n router, and we have 802.11 AC on the horizon, but there's a lot of reasons why this one is actually standing out as one of your favorites at this time.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, we definitely are big proponents and supporters of the 802.11 AC specification, and we have an awesome unit if you're looking for the absolute highest level of performance in terms of gaming, throughput, low latency, and overall connectivity if you're looking for AC. But for most users, the reality is that your current devices on the marketplace, whether you're talking about, let's say, a notebook, a tablet, a smartphone, desktop wireless connectivity, consoles, everything is pretty much centered on 802.11n. So that's your current specification standard. And this unit really is kind of a real sweet spot for the users that are in that higher end bracket of really looking for the next level of performance. Maybe you've already had an early generation N router, maybe even have one right now, or maybe you're still maybe on that significantly older standard in G and you're looking for an upgrade. This isn't just a normal upgrade, you're getting an upgrade in multiple respects. In the overall performance, the throughput, the concurrent stability, as well as overall the feature and functionality of the product. Now, some of the things that really make this unit special to me in terms of the performance is going to be the design philosophy that we approach this unit with, is that we took about a custom design implementation. So one of the things that you're not going to be able to see right off in the bat on this unit, which happens to be a 750 as opposed to, let's say, a Wireless-N900, which would be like our RTN66, this is only 750, is that this unit actually features two processors built into it. Most routers have a single SoC chip, so let's say like a 400 or 500 or 600 megahertz processing chip. This one actually has two, and one is specifically dedicated towards the 5 megahertz spectrum usage. So for users that are actively looking for the kind of the lowest latency, the best throughput performance for 5 gigahertz usage, so that's going to be, like I said, for gaming, for data backups, for high bitrate streaming, whether that's going to be video or whether it's going to be audio, or for data synchronization in the cloud, this unit's going to give you better concurrent level of usage, especially when you're actively considering not only using the LAN on the unit, but the wireless, as well as even the USB, because we're not essentially having all those connections being restricted to just the use of one CPU, but it's actually being able to use two CPUs to maintain better performance.
So if you have a lot of stuff going on at the same time, you've got both bands going, connecting for streaming video, you have wired computers wired in directly to the gigabit switch, you've also got USB devices. Having those two separate SoCs is going to help to basically crunch all that data and not have any slowdown or affect your performance at all?
Definitely. Where you usually see it the most is going to be once, like I said, in 5 gigahertz, because of course there's a higher drop-off, especially when you're trying to stream across multiple channels and concurrently, as well as in the USB storage performance. And that's another area that we'll talk about. Now, if we flip this unit around here to the side, you're going to see here, of course, we have the connectivity, which there you, of course, have your standard WAN, and then you have your 4 gigabit Ethernet ports. But then you're going to see two blue USB ports. And as you know, in the motherboard era, the blue ports designate USB 3. So this is a very special unit in terms that it's a USB 3 equipped router. So that gives us significantly higher performance for any type of USB attached storage devices. So take, for instance, at home, I have a multi-terabyte equipped drive where I have tons of photos, documents, music, movies, things like that, all equipped that I can share across my network environment, even across the web through our AI cloud software, which we'll be covering, as well as even for, let's say, a multifunction printer. If you're sending multiple views to that printer, high-resolution photos, they're going to print faster because they're able to be processed at a higher data rate because it's USB 3 versus the USB 2. So it's a pretty awesome connection. Now, in terms of real-world throughput, it's not going to be anywhere near the throughput that you're going to have on a desktop PC, but it is going to be significantly faster than normal USB 2 that are on most routers. Most routers that are on the market are usually going to be somewhere, I'd say, about 2 2 to about 5 megabytes. Higher performance units usually looking between about 5 to 10 megabytes. Our units that have USB 2 on many of our routers are high performance USB 2 ports, so usually giving you somewhere between about 12 to 15 megabytes. This unit is generally hitting a much more consistent stride of about 15 to as much as 25 megabytes. So very high level of performance, giving you that ability to stream HD-based source material across your network, whether you're connected on the wires or whether you're connected on the Ethernet. So a pretty robust level of functionality, which, like I said, is also assisted from the fact of having those 2 CPUs on board.
I imagine it helps a lot with backup and syncing, especially if you have network-attached storage as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a huge assist in that regard. Now, also when taking a look at here in terms of the connectivity, this gigabit Ethernet-enabled ports also support our turbo NAT processing technology. So this helps to give us a much higher level of performance for Ethernet-enabled PCs than, let's say, your normal routers, which their throughput is going to be closer to about 5 to about 600 megabits of throughput performance. On our units, we've been able to exceed upwards of 900 megabits of throughput performance, which once again really helps us in all those same data-intensive resource environments across our network that increase in performance is going to be beneficial to. Another note that we want to keep in mind is that our software is very functional. In terms of this CD-free setup technology that we have, when you're going about setting this up in any type of environment, whether you're talking about like an ultrabook, a tablet, a smartphone, you don't have to have any type of software, even application loaded. You just have to look for our SSID, you can connect to it, and set the unit up entirely free of anything. You just have to make sure your Ethernet connection is connected here in terms of the LAN for the WAN connection, and you can get up and rolling without any type of software connection at all. And if you're connecting more normally to, let's say, like a notebook or a desktop with an Ethernet port connected to that, once again, no software, it's just HTTP takeover. You click on your web browser, you open it up, takes you through the process. In most situations, we've had basic users setting up the router from start to finish within about 30 to 45 seconds. So a very easy, straightforward process. One of the other cool parts is that within that firmware, these 4 ports will actually turn into 5 usable ports. If you're using this as only an access point, you can turn the WAN port into another Ethernet port.
Nice. So you get to connect another device. If you're going to put this in, say you have a gaming room, you can set it up as an access point, connect your Xbox, your PlayStation 3, or home theater PC all to it, and then bridge it over to, say, another router in your house?
Exactly. Some other cool functionality we have enabled here is, of course, the complete set of software that we have as part of our WTR firmware. So that allows you to do things like have AI disk, which is a way to go ahead and share your USB-enabled storage devices either across your local network or even across the internet, where even we'll make custom domain names for you so that you can go ahead and access that through HTTP to be able to take advantage of your content anywhere where you might be through a web-enabled interface. You can go ahead and have Download Master, which is a special piece of software which, once again, with a USB-attached storage device, you could download torrent files, HTTP files, FTP files, all without your system even being turned on. Or, of course, you could share a printer, you have guest ID support, and even advanced things like VPN functionality are all embedded into this unit. A really robust level of firmware functionality that we have built upon based on the feedback from the community. As you might know, a lot of the kind of enthusiast users out there really love DDWRT, but can be very complex and it's not always officially supported. So we took a huge amount of time at developing our own firmware based on the feedback of users that were looking for a high degree of customization, but also wanted to be able to have things worked, elegantly and automatically, so that, if you want to tweak it and tune it to get more functionality, more performance, more control, those options are definitely available to you, whether they're QoS-centric, whether they're performance-centric, or even things like basic like parental controls. But at the same time, if you just need the unit to just work, basic setup, it's going to be able to get the job done.
I really like the Download Master functionality. So is that like, once you've got the router connected, would you go into like a web interface and actually assign downloads, like just plug in the URLs for the router, and then you can shut down your system as long as you've got storage attached to the router will continue those downloads with your computer not even on?
It's very straightforward. If you wanted even a more streamlined process, you can install a small piece of software on the system which will actually monitor the URLs that come up in your web browser. And as those come up, if you're downloading that file, it'll ask you, would you like to download this through Download Master? And from there, it'll just automatically embed that in, and it'll take over the process for you. So it makes it very streamlined, very easy. Also helps you to be more power conscientious, because even though newer systems can be definitely more conservative in power, this is going to take a lot less power to run than, of course, a full system that's still running to just download some files. files.
Yeah, it's nice to not have the computer on 24/7.
The last note that we want to make here is that definitely you want to always keep in mind that as part of a wireless system, you need to be able to make sure that you have the right type of clients available to ensure the best level of performance. So as an example, if you take a look here on the right-hand side of the table, you've got a couple of our wireless solutions. These are specifically 450 megabits, so 3x3 solutions, which are really focused at users that are looking for the best range or the highest throughput. So whether you're talking about 2.4 gigahertz, which is ideally the best for maximum range, versus 5 gigahertz, which has shorter range but higher throughput, these are going to both offer you extraordinary options. Whether it's the EA, which is more centric at CE type devices, or fixed Ethernet installations, so let's say like a console, a television, or a desktop PC, as opposed to the USB N66, which would be more focused at pretty much any USB-enabled device. So you got a lot of flexibility with either one of them, but that's something to definitely be conscientious of, is that depending on your overall wireless connectivity needs, different devices are going to affect the overall throughput and the range and the performance. So just something to keep in mind.
Fantastic. So I'm really nice to hear that you have a favorite router, and I'm sure that ASUS is working on some more routers coming up, especially the 802.11 AC standard that we expect to see more of in the future, of course. But for the time being, JJ's favorite router, I know I was curious, hopefully if you guys are curious as well, because JJ, of all the vendor reps who come in here, JJ is the guy who always comes in and says, I was using my hardware to do this and this and this, and I'm always fascinated with all of the solutions, particularly from ASUS, that he comes and implements and uses himself. He has this set up at home, so he was actually able to just send me a link over to my email. I clicked on the link, I was able to just go and download an image that he had just sent me as a test, but it works, and there we have it. So JJ, thank you again for stopping by, sharing this info with us. If you guys would like to see more tech videos from Newegg, you can check out youtube.com/Newegg. If you want to see more from JJ, you can check out ASUS, youtube.com/ASUSROG. I'm Paul with Newegg TV. This has been JJ from ASUS. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.